So once bitter rivals of the former president, two GOP heavyweights came out in support of Donald Trump at the Republican National Convention. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley took the speaker's stage Tuesday night and endorsed Trump. The former ambassador to the UN during the Trump administration had been very critical of the former president during the primary season, and even after she left the race, continued to say that Trump was unfit. But last night, Haley changed her tune and said, actually, Trump's the best person for the job. He's really great, and she endorses him.
Here was that clip.
I'll start by making one thing perfectly clear. Donald Trump has my strong endorsement, period.
Remember when Nikki Haley said, if Donald Trump wants my delegates and my endorsement and my supporters, he is going to have to earn it. And then Trump said, I'm not going to do anything. You're just going to give it all to me. And Nikki Haley last night did exactly that.
That's what she did. That's how it works. And we knew it. We knew it was going to be like this.
Now, she wasn't the only one who took to the stage. Florida Governor DeSantis went to every county in Iowa telling them that Donald Trump's not the guy. He can't win. He cannot beat Joe Biden. And now he's up on the stage saying very similar things to Nikki Haley, maybe even with a little more passion. When you say a little more anger, a little more fire.
A bit louder, a bit more fiery with his speech. Here's one moment from Governor DeSantis' address at the Republican National Convention last night.
The current president of the United States lacks the capability to discharge the duties of his office. Our enemies do not confine their designs to between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. We need a commander-in-chief who can lead 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. America cannot afford 4 more years of a weekend at Bernie's presidency.
So one of the big lines from last night, the weekend at Bernie's presidency. And Florida prominently featured last night. You had Governor DeSantis speaking. You also had Senator Rick Scott with just awkward moment. Listen to this.
USA, USA.
That's the weakest USA.
We will win.
What was that?
Now, let me tell you about a dream I had recently.
No, please don't.
I had a dream and I did some time traveling. I traveled into the future to an imaginary world.
I can't. I'm just brutal.
That's awful.
I had a dream today.
That's rough.
It was.
He is just so awkward. Every time you watch Rick Scott, you wonder, how the hell did this guy become the governor, win re-election, become a senator? He's going to win re-election again. It's amazing.
Why do his commercials have to have his head so large on the screen? I always find that a little, I don't know, distracting.
And then real quick, we had Marco Rubio, too, with this moment.
Thank you. Don't say polo. Don't say polo.
They're chanting Marco.
That's awesome.
And he says, don't say polo. So
Marco
wonder how long he's
Polo.
been sitting on that one.
Dumb.
I've never heard that one.
You want to hear it again? Hang on.
Thank you. Don't
Polo.
say polo.
It's probably the first time anybody's ever chanted Marco before, so he had a chance to say it.
That's great. Well, it was interesting. We were talking earlier about the VIP section.
Yeah.
And some of the people who got to hang out with Trump, and that included Anna Paulina Luna,
right,
Congresswoman from Pinellas County, and also Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia. Now, the thing that's interesting about Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz, of course, from Northwest Florida, he was in the VIP section,
Yeah,
right?
got into a little skirmish with former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah, taunting
Florida
him.
convention.
Are you going to speak? When are you speaking, Kevin? He'd get booed. And then when he turned around, somebody called him out and was like, Matt, don't be a... And he's like, I don't even know who you are. And the guy's like, it doesn't matter. Don't be a...
It was quite the confrontation.
But here's the thing. Gaetz and Greene are two of the least popular people in Congress, in part because they keep going after the leadership in the party. And there they are in the VIP section for Donald Trump. Kind of an interesting spot, right?
Two of the most staunchest supporters of Trump.
Right. So what's better, to be in Trump's good graces or to be in the doghouse, in the House?
Well, I would rather be on that VIP section at the convention with former President Donald Trump, the front runner to win in November.
And Matt Gaetz looking for that endorsement for governor. Right? So we'll see how that goes.
You also had Corey Mills there, a congressman from here in Florida. So a number of representatives from Florida, a big part of the convention last night.
Yeah, and Donald Trump, of course, showing up for a second night.
Yeah.
He didn't speak, but once again, his presence fired up the crowd.
Have you seen the people in the crowd at the convention wearing the ear bandage? That's become an accessory.
Yeah.
Who thought of doing that?
I don't know.
Because there had to have been one idiot who said he thought he was going to do it, and then a bunch of people were like, "I'm going to wear solidarity. I'm going to wear it too."
It's like the weirdos in those cults, like where they wore the Nike shoes and then they were on the spaceship, and then the people wear the Band-Aids on the forehead. I mean, what's going on?
I don't know.
Is that necessary?
But Laura Trump, she gave, I thought, one of the most powerful speeches we've seen to date at the convention. This was part of her address to those who were watching and everyone there inside the convention.
There's no doubt that Saturday was one of the most frightening moments of my father-in-law's life. Millimeters separated him from life and certain death. And yet, it was in the midst of it all, as he was jostled off stage by Secret Service, that he knew how defining that moment would be for our country. And he hoisted his fist in the air.
You know, it's going to be so fascinating to see him deliver that speech. I know J.D. Vance is tonight, but Trump's speech tomorrow night, that's going to be one of the most highly anticipated addresses that we have seen in a long time.
Oh, absolutely it is.
And I don't know if you've seen this video, Chris. Can you pull it up on it's on my Twitter, my X account. So if you go to Ryan E. Gorman on X, you'll see this video, and it gives you a sense, to Laura's point, as to how close that bullet came from killing Trump. I mean, if you haven't seen this video, you've got, again, Ryan E. Gorman on X. What would you call that? It's like a graphic.
Yeah, it's like a graphic representation, and it shows how his head. It shows the line of the bullet, and as he moved his head, how the line shifted to his ear, and it shows where it would have hit just a split second earlier. It would have gone, like right above his temple and right through the back of his head.
It's just unreal.
Yeah, it's an animation.
Look at that. Yeah, and in that call that he had that got leaked with RFK Jr., I guess on his call with President Biden, because he's talking about that to RFK Jr., he says, Biden asked him, how did you wind up turning your head just to that moment? he said, well, there was a
chart.
A chart.
He was turning to point to the chart behind him that had the numbers for all of the illegal migrants coming through the border. He said, I didn't want to tell Biden that, but that's what it was. That's what I was turning to.
How about that detail?
So Biden's border crisis saved Trump's life.
Right.
Yeah.
Essentially, I mean,
Incredible.
It really is. All right, Chris Trenkmann with today's top stories. Chris, thanks so much.
Thank you.